These are the letter A. There's uppercase A, and there's lowercase a. Apple begins with the letter A. Airplane also begins with the letter A. Alligator begins with the letter A. An arm also begins with the letter A. These are the letter B. You have uppercase B, and you have the lowercase b. Banana starts with the letter B. Bear also begins with the letter B. Ball starts with B, and boy also starts with the letter B. These are the letter C. Uppercase C and lowercase c. Car starts with the letter C. Cat also begins with the letter C. Circus starts with the letter C, and cow starts with the letter C. These are the letter D. You have the uppercase D, and you have the lowercase d. Door begins with the letter D. Dinosaur also begins with the letter D. And doctor, and also dress, begins with the letter D. These are the letter E. You have the uppercase E and the lowercase e. Ear begins with the letter E. Also, elephant begins with the letter E. Engine starts with the letter E, and the word I begins with the letter E. These are the letter F. The uppercase F and the lowercase f. Fun begins with the letter F. Also, friend begins with the letter F. Flower begins with F, and fast also starts with the letter F. These are the letter G. Uppercase G and lowercase g. Great begins with the letter G. Giraffe also begins with the letter G. Girl begins with the letter G, and grow also starts with the letter G. These are the letter H. Uppercase H and lowercase h. Hand begins with the letter H. House also starts with the letter H. Hospital begins with the letter H. Also, head begins with the letter H. These are the letter I. Uppercase I and lowercase I. Ice begins with the letter I. Igloo also begins with the letter I. Iguana starts with the letter I. And idea begins with the letter I. These are the letter J. You have the uppercase J, and you also have the lowercase j. Jump begins with the letter J. Jacket also begins with the letter J. Jewelry begins with J, and jar starts with the letter J. These are the letter K. Uppercase K and lowercase k. Kite begins with the letter K. King begins with the letter K as well. Kiss also begins with the letter K. And key also starts with the letter K. These are the letter L. You have the uppercase L and the lowercase l. Love begins with the letter L. Lollipop also starts with the letter L. Lobster begins with L, and leaf starts with the letter L. These are the letter M. Uppercase M, lowercase m. Mom begins with the letter M. Mask also begins with the letter M. Mouse starts with M. And milk is another word that begins with the letter M. These are the letter N. Uppercase N, lowercase n. Nose is a word that begins with N. Neck is also a word that begins with the letter N. Numbers starts with N, and name is another word that begins with the letter N. These are the letter O. Uppercase O and lowercase o. Oval is a word that begins with the letter O. Old is a word that starts with O. Oatmeal begins with O. And owl also starts with O. These are the letter P. Uppercase P and lowercase p. People begins with the letter P. Pencil starts with P. Paper begins with the letter P. And play is another word that begins with the letter P. These are the letter Q. You have uppercase Q, and you have the lowercase q. Question is a word that begins with the letter Q. Quilt also begins with Q. Queen begins with Q. And quiet also begins with Q. These are the letter R. You have uppercase R and lowercase r. Rope is a word that begins with the letter R. Also, rules begins with R. Rock starts with the letter R, and run begins with the letter R. These are the letter S. You have the uppercase S and the lowercase s. School begins with the letter S. Also, stop begins with S. Strawberry begins with the letter S, and star begins with the letter S. These are the letter T. Uppercase T and lowercase t. Teeth begin with the letter T. Teacher also begins with T. Toys starts with the letter T, and truck starts with T. These are the letter U. You have the lowercase u and the uppercase U. Up begins with the letter U. Umbrella also begins with the letter U. Unicorn starts with U, and us begins with the letter U. These are the letter V. You have the uppercase V and the lowercase v. Violin is a word that begins with the letter V. Vegetable starts with a V. Victory begins with the letter V. And van is another word that begins with the letter V. These are the letter W. You have the uppercase W and the lowercase w. Work is a word that begins with the letter W. Wheels also begins with the W. Window starts with the letter W. And water is another word that begins with the letter W. This is the letter X. You have the uppercase X and the lowercase x. X-ray begins with the letter X. Xerox also starts with the letter X. Xylophone begins with X, and Z9 also begins with the letter X. This is the letter Y. You have the uppercase Y and the lowercase y. Year is a word that begins with the letter Y. You begins with the letter Y. Yesterday also starts with Y. And yes is another word that begins with the letter Y. Z. These are the letters Z. You have the uppercase Z and the lowercase z. Zebra begins with the letter Z. Also, zoo begins with the letter Z. Zookeeper begins with the letter Z. And zero also starts with the letter Z. You just learned your letters and a few words that begin with them.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Look at the alphabets. Show me the letter P. That's the letter P. Now, show me the letter A. That's the letter A. Now, can you show me the letter R? That's the letter R. How about showing me the letter I? That's the letter I. Can you show me the letter S? That's the letter S. Can you point to the letter Y? That's the letter Y. Can you find the letter E? That's the letter E. Now can you find the letter L? That's the letter L. How about trying to find the letter B? That's the letter B. Now can you find the letter U? That's the letter U. Here's some more alphabets. Can you find the letter C? That's the letter C. Now can you find the letter F? That's the letter F. Now try to find the letter D. That's the letter D. Now point to the letter Q. That's the letter Q. Now point to the letter N. That's the letter N. Now can you show me the letter T? That's the letter T. How about the letter W? That's the letter W. Can you show me the letter Z? That's the letter Z. Now can you point to the letter V? That's the letter V. How about showing me the letter O? That's the letter O. Here are a few more alphabets. Can you show me the letter M? That's the letter M. Now can you show me the letter X? That's the letter X. Now can you point to the letter K? That's the letter K. How about pointing to the letter G? That's the letter G. Can you show me the letter J? That's the letter J. Now can you show me the letter H? That's the letter H. You just showed me all of the alphabets. A, lowercase a. B, lowercase b. C, lowercase c. D, lowercase d. E, lowercase e. F, lowercase f. G, lowercase g. H, lowercase h. I, lowercase I. J, lowercase j, K, lowercase k, L, lowercase l, M, lowercase m, N, lowercase n, O, lowercase o, P, lowercase p, Q, lowercase q, R, lowercase r, S, lowercase s, T, lowercase t, U, lowercase u, V, lowercase v, W, lowercase w, X, lowercase x, Y, lowercase y, Z, lowercase z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z.